Hey everyone, this is Lady Night and this is take 3, because apparently the quiet place that I chose today for my video is one of the most populated places out here, and maybe it's because it's Sunday morning, everyone wants to go for a walk, there's tourist groups coming through here. So much for my quiet, happy place, for contemplation. I'm actually back out here in the woods where I previously filmed at the castle and the pyramid. All of these places here are within walking distance, and that's why this place is so great. And today I'm sitting in a very historical spot, where as I just learned from one of the tourist groups that came through here, in 1796, apparently the Prussian king, so the king of the territory here, came here to have breakfast in this very spot. I'm actually sitting on the table. And I hear people again. I don't think I'm ever going to get this video done today. Let's just hope they drive by. Anyway, this artificial bridge that you see right here, with this lookout tower and the bridge and everything, this was put here to make the park more pretty. And there's a myth that goes hand in hand with this bridge, because you can see this thing right here that's called the trap, and if you walk through this bridge, and if you're pure of heart, you get to make a wish and it comes true, which is what I'm going to do when I leave. So, talking about historical stuff, I got a new tarot deck that I wanted to share with you, and it is this one. I don't know if it focuses. It is the Art History Tarot Deck for Past Lives by Melanie Hanson Osborne from Red Orchid Publishing. And this is the deck. These are the backs with the red orchids, really pretty. And the deck is made up of all different kinds of artwork from different time periods, different artists all over the world. And you can use this either for past life readings, which is what it was created for, but you can also use this as a regular tarot deck. So, and I found this deck on, and now the sun is really coming through, but oh well. I found this deck on Kasha's channel from Tarot Map. She got this deck and she did a practice reading for herself, and I was really intrigued. And then I went to the website where the deck is sold, and I'll put the website in the description box. And there I found the review from Kelly from The Truth and Story, and I will link that video down below as well, where she talked about the deck and how it was put together, how it can be used and everything. And I just had to have it, because a while ago I did a reading for a friend, and we talked about some past life things, because years ago he had been told by a Reiki master, I think it was, about one of his past lives and some of the things that he brought into this life. And I had been doing a reading for him anyway, so I thought, well, why not look into the cards and see if anything comes up? And we did actually get some really cool information. So and then I saw this deck, and I thought this would be perfect, because I'm also interested in like my past lives, if I had any, I don't know. People always talk about like whether they're an old soul or something, but I feel like kind of a young soul, I don't know. I never felt like, oh, I've had like a bunch of lives. Maybe a few, but not that many. I don't know. So I wanted to find out more about that, and so I got the deck. And with the deck you can also, because this doesn't come with a little white book, but you can get a really nice guidebook also on the website, and the guidebook is also sold separately on Amazon. And this guidebook, what this gives you is you get one full page for each of the cards. You get the complete image, because sometimes on these cards, or most of the time, you will only have a certain aspect of the image that it is zoomed into. And here you can get the full-size picture, you get about the art, so you get something like when it was created, the name of the painter, the name of the picture, and a little bit of additional information. And then the way that this deck is structured, so up here in the upper right corner, you have something like true friend or plague, sun, Greece, Africa, poison, things like that. So they're all up here in the corner. Down here you have the information about the painting. So this is African Men by Jan Mostayat, 1522 to 1530. So you can find the information if you want to know more about the painting. You can Google that. And then down here, very small, it says Knight of P. Or down here, it says Tower, or Page of W. So you get to know what card in the regular tarot deck this would be. And the guidebook, you get up here, the title is always the same as the one in the top corner. Then you get the traditional card. You get some keywords for that card. And then you get a paragraph of the past life reading. You get some additional interpretation, and you always get a place and time to go with that. And that's what you get for all of the cards, and they are actually in order. Oops, sorry. So if you want to use the guidebook and you look for a specific card, the traditional card is always the second line, so if you want to look for that, because they're not in any alphabetical order, they're actually in the order of the typical tarot deck. All the major arcana first, and then all the suits. And so once you know that, it's pretty easy to find the cards. And what you can also get on the website is the tarot workbook, and this is 21 Days to Understanding Yourself, and this is a really, really good workbook. I have done a video on tarot workbooks before. Another person is coming, I swear I'm gonna... People keep walking by. So, what you get in this workbook is a 21-day course for yourself, you know, for self-discovery. And after an introduction, there is a bit of a pre-assessment for yourself, and then it goes into the 7 chapters, where one chapter always consists of 3 days. And the things that you have, or don't have to, but that you can work through are spiritual essence, narrative, spiritual blockage, relationship, phobias and fears, dreams, and life goals. And the way that this is structured is for each chapter in the beginning you get a reference guide for all of the cards in the deck. So you get keywords based on the topic. So in this case, spiritual essence. For example, the Fool would be angelic qualities, most likely a healer. Or the Devil connection to spirituality through sexuality. Or the King of Swords, articulate, masterful writer. So then you get day 1 spread and some questions to answer. Is that the sun? There. For day 2, you get a new spread and something to fill out. And for day 3, you get another spread and some questions to answer. And that goes all the way through the book for 21 days. So you get a new spread each day. I don't know if I'm gonna do it one day after another. I might sit for each spread for maybe a couple days and think about that. But yeah, the way that this is structured, and then once again when you move into the next chapter you get another reference guide with keywords specifically for that topic. So the amount of work that went into this is amazing. I have done a video on tarot workbooks before, but I have to say this one is moving straight up to the top. This is so detailed, and you can really see how much thought went into this, and I can't wait to do this. So, and of course I also did a practice reading for myself, and I want to show you, I'm gonna insert a picture of the cards that I got. And so what I first got, the very first card, Betrayal. And in my reading I didn't get any place and time cards, so I'm not really sure where this was and when, but something that I really like about this deck, even if you don't get a specific time and place, this deck... I can hear people again. Are they stopping? I can still hear them. I don't want people here. This deck is such an amazing psychological tool because even without a specific time and place, I got to an issue that I wasn't even aware of was a problem for me in this life. And so yeah, the first card that I got, Betrayal, the Seven of Swords. Betrayal is at work in your subconscious in this life based on betrayal you have experienced in a previous life. Difficulty trusting without good reason is a strong indicator that betrayal was experienced in a past life. Paranoia or certainty that things will go wrong can also manifest as an indicator of past betrayals. This card's appearance may be reflecting an aspect of your psyche, or be specifically addressing a betrayal you are experiencing and or processing now. Last year, I ended a friendship that was my best friend, and we were friends for almost 16 years. Yeah, and that was also because of some kind of betrayal. And the card on top of that was Loving Woman. And this is the Queen of Cups, of all people, the Queen of Cups. Let's see... Here, Queen of Cups. The card of the Loving Woman denotes someone sensitive and kind. You will identify her by her loving nature, which began development in a past life. This card can also indicate a woman with a generous amount of love to give, often without an adequate outlet. She will choose heart over head in most cases. And the alternative interpretation reads, the negative side of the Queen of Cups is that she can be too emotional. Emotional problems are a higher risk with a Queen of Cup person. This may be the case if the card is reversed. Oh my god, the birdie keeps coming back. He's looking at me. He was just 2 arm lengths away from me. I'm being watched. This is so cute. I love this place. Anyway. So yeah. This is when I thought, okay, betrayal by a woman. That has been a reoccurring thing for me in this life. I mean, with this last friend, with her, it was, I was cheated out of money from a project that we worked on together. And after a year of silence, we kind of got back together as friends. And then she hid her pregnancy from me, and 2 days after having the baby, I got a text message. By the way, 2 days ago I gave birth, and gave me all the measurements and stuff. And I thought, So I wrote back, congratulations, why didn't you say anything? Silence. And I thought, okay. And then later she told me she didn't want to tell me about the pregnancy in a text message. And I was like, okay, calling? Inviting me over to your place and be like, hey, guess what? So that was, I was done in that moment. And other times, well, in junior high school, my best friend, she, when she learned that I would be spending a year abroad, and that was a year before I actually went, she started hanging out with a different crowd, and then later told me that she didn't want to start all over with new friends once I was gone, so that's why she was getting ahead of things and starting to hang out with people that she would already be friends with once I was gone, so that she wouldn't be all alone. And I mean, I can perfectly understand not wanting to be alone, and I never would have said, well, you can't hang out with other people. It was just this notion of, oh, you're gonna leave me, so I'm gonna find other people. And I've had this with other female friends also in different ways. Like, I had a colleague that I became friends with, and then I introduced her to the pregnancy hiding friend, and then she kind of got in between me and my long-term friend. And yeah, just different stuff. I don't know. So I have felt betrayal by women in friendship positions, or in a workplace also. I never had these issues with men in this life. And I'm not even talking about relationships. Like, yeah, relationships, they start, they end, that's life. But the way that things happen, I think betrayal is something that I have only experienced through women in this life. So, okay, since I didn't get any place and time cards, the order in which you interpret the cards is then a bit different. And the first card is the interior position. Which normally would be position number 4. And that for me is migration. And that is the World card. Let's see what that one says. Judgment. World. Migration. This card likely indicates that migration from Europe to America, though other migrations are possible as well. I love America. Struggles from migration from a previous life could make it personally difficult to travel over water or fly over the ocean. Well, actually, I love flying. Traveling over water, will I get seasick, kind of? I have never traveled by boat over the ocean, so I don't really know if I would get seasick on one of those big cruise ships. But one of my favorite shows as a kid was The Love Boat. I always wanted to go on one of these cruise ships. Yeah, but going to America is actually something when I was a teenager, I wanted to go to America so bad. So when my mom offered me the chance to actually go there for a year, I didn't have to think twice. Not at all. And when I lived there, I didn't want to leave. I really enjoyed it so much. I had the best experience, even with a lot of shitty stuff that was going on, a lot of drama, and I still wanted to go back. So I was looking up ways of, how to get a job, how to get a work visa, and possible places where I could apply for a job, and what kind of college degree would I need, and all these kind of things. And I was really researching that because I wanted to go back. Now I'm at a point where I say, okay, I'm going there for a vacation. I'm staying where I am. Because something that was not really motivating me was like the healthcare system, not having health insurance and stuff, and it's a different story over here, so yeah, I decided to stay. Also because I got my dream job and everything, so yeah. And living in the United States is very expensive. The next card, the passing influence, is going to be the next one, and that is position number 3. And here I had the slavery card. And when I saw this card, the image in my head was the Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman movie, Far and Away. So I think going over to America, and a lot of these cards, like the time and place, give me something like between the 14th and 16th century. So maybe it was among the first settlers. I think something that will be possible that I connect to is, going over there, maybe working on the ship to pay for the passage, and then even working for someone afterwards, because going to America would have been so expensive. And I think that might have been the situation where I ended up in the movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. It was like she had to work in some kind of factory, even though she came from a wealthy family, but everything was stolen from her when she got there. And he made money boxing in these fight clubs and stuff. And yeah, they had to do what other people told them to do. And we're also kind of stuck in a kind of slavery. Not per se the same kind of slavery that happened later. But yeah, I think that's more the vibe that I'm getting from this. So the next card then is the Exteria, and that would be normally position number 5. And here I got genetic illness. And this is the 2 of Swords. For this deck's purpose, the genetic illness card, did I even read the slavery? I didn't. Sorry. Going back to the devil. Oh, that's the devil card, right. Slavery. The slavery card indicates a life framed by slavery, most likely as the enslaved, but possibly as the slave owner, when the presence of the U card or the greed card is there, but I don't have either of these cards. So, if you were enslaved, you must work to overcome a slave mentality. Don't accept meager wages or sell yourself short. Work on eliminating fear of your boss or losing your job. Control is an illusion, and the lack of power in the past life can have lasting effects on this one. So, yeah, having to work for less than minimum wage was something that I had to do in the beginning of my career. And when minimum wage was established, I got a huge raise. And now I'm actually in a place where I make decent money. So, yeah. That is something that I had to deal with. Now the genetic illness, Two of Swords. For this deck's purpose, the genetic illness card is specifically categorized as a cause of death. The traditional Two of Swords depicts a figure blindfolded, forming a connection to the blind figure in this deck. Alternative interpretation would be the Two of Swords is traditionally about a stalemate, a situation in which you feel there are no good moves, so hence you do nothing. If you're working through an avoidance situation at this time, there are likely past life factors influencing both the situation itself and your emotional response to that situation. Well, this could tie in with the fact that I now have these upcoming 2-3 years of not really knowing what's going to happen at work. And since this is kind of also related to a work-life situation, yeah, maybe I died at work? I don't know. Maybe the conditions in which I worked were not really great, and then if there was something like a genetic illness that prevented me from keeping up the work, yeah. This is something I still have to sit with. And the last card, that would be You Now, and that is the 6th card in this spread. And this is traditional, the future position. It is least likely to denote place and or time. So, and here we have oppression. And this is the 8 of Swords. So a lot of sword energy here. Oppression can refer to literal imprisonment or slavery, or it can mean oppression due to ethnicity, gender, sexuality, or economic status. Oppression experienced in a past life will make you more hyper-aware of these injustices as you experience them in this life. Chances are good that part of your life's path includes fighting oppression to create peace and prosperity for souls from all walks of life. Manifestations include bouts of feeling powerless and unexpected anxiety. Well, oppression has been a subject in my childhood because I was born into a country that no longer exists, a socialist regime. And we did have a peaceful revolution where things didn't get out of hand, thankfully. And that was because people felt oppressed in a way that they were cheated out of a way of life that they would like to choose for themselves, which is often the case. Like in socialism, you don't really have any say in what's going on. The government tells you what's what, and you have to deal with it. And people were taken away for thinking the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, I have been to one of these prisons where they showed the torture chambers after the regime had ended, and also the padded rooms for women that were pregnant so that they couldn't hurt themselves, and all these things, and also the prison where they would execute people, either shooting them or using the guillotine. Yeah, we used the guillotine well until the 70s. So yeah. That has already been part of my life because I was taught at a very young age, like when I was in kindergarten, how to behave in order to not get my family in trouble, because I come from a military family in that regime, and so my family was watched closely. So yeah, I had to really pay attention to what I was doing, even at a young age. And I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. But I still see a lot of injustice in the world, and I would love to talk to people about it, but a lot of people just don't want to hear it, and they're so, caught up in their ways that they don't even want to think about the possibility that something else might be true. I don't know. But yeah, that's something that I deal with. So, and then, since I didn't really get a place and time, I went with the very first card, and that is Italy, kind of. And then I got some clarifiers. And the first card that I got was the Lover's card. And it's an image of Mars and Venus, which would also be like in the religious area of the Mediterranean. And I got Turkey as another card, so also in the Mediterranean area. And then I drew a card from the past life reading cards, and I got Egypt, which is also in the Mediterranean area and not too far away from Turkey. So maybe the place for this doesn't really matter, so it was probably in the vicinity of the Mediterranean area, and if I moved from there to America, that could have been possible. Maybe in the 16th, 17th century, whenever people would go there or try to go there. This is definitely a very interesting reading, and I think I'm going to sit with that for a while. I'm definitely gonna write that down and see what comes up within the next few days, just thinking about it. And then I don't know when I'm going to start the workbook, but I'm definitely going to do that, because past life readings, that is one of the things that I want to focus on more in depth during my depth years that are coming up. So this deck is definitely one of my top 5 favorite decks so far. Even though I've only done one reading with it, but the people who say that this deck cuts deep, they're absolutely right. You can get a lot of this out of it, and before I have never really done shadow work. I have always kind of stayed away from that. But this deck, going through past life experiences and how this may relate to this life, I think that's the kind of shadow work that I can start with to really put my finger on certain things. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!